In today's video, I'm going to add pockets from the ephemera sheets to my sea glass junk journal that I created in the last video. Here's a look at the back and the front, and I added this pretty chiffon trim as a closure. This junk journal was created with printables available in our Etsy shop, and I will link the kit down below in the description box. I've printed off all 15 pages of the ephemera. I fussy cut everything. I trimmed all of the pockets, and then I inked the edges with the same ink that I used on the pages. I'm using Distress Ink by Tim Holtz in the color Frayed Burlap, which is a nice muted dusty brown. I like to ink all of the edges of everything ahead of time so I don't have to do that when I'm working on the journal. I also printed off all of the papers here. I did print off an extra journaling page so I can add that to my journal if needed. I'm going to keep my papers off to the side because we're going to use a couple of these for pockets in the journal. I'm also going to keep my tray off to the side. I'm not using much of this today, but I will work on page spreads in a future video and decorate my journal with these pieces. Welcome to another Phantom Charm Studios tutorial. My name is Tammy. I've been a paper crafter and scrapbooker for over 25 years, and now I make junk journals. On this channel, I talk about ways to use stuff you've found, stuff you've accumulated, and stuff you may want to print yourself to make and decorate junk journals. If that sounds good to you, I would love it if you would subscribe to our channel and hit the red bell to notify you when I upload new videos. Before we get started, I'm adding 2 pages of ephemera to the kit. Once I got everything printed and I was planning out how to lay out my pages, I realized that I wanted some larger journaling cards. So I'm adding this set of 4 cards, and there's a second sheet of cards in the same size that feature more of the ladies from the kit. I printed journaling lines on the back. We always need more journaling space, so not only are these pretty, but they can be functional too. These cards were not part of the original kit, so I didn't talk about them on the walkthrough video, but I'm really glad to have these because there are several pages where I want to have bigger journaling cards. If you missed the last video where I created this journal, I'll link that here and in the description box if you're interested in how that came together. I let the binding of my journal dry overnight, and now I'm ready to fill up some of the pages with pockets and interactive elements from the kit. And that's all I really want to do at this point, just get some pockets on the pages so they are ready to fill up. Most of the ephemera on my tray will be saved for actually working on the spreads. I will have a video in a few weeks where I'll work on a few page spreads, as well as sharing a final flip through when I've completed the journal. Let me know in the comments if that's something you like to watch. I know when I watch other tutorials, I always love to see how the journal turns out once the creator has added in journaling and memorabilia and photos. So it's important to me to include that once I've created a journal like this. And I'd love to know if that's something anyone else out there likes to see as well. I'm going to work on several pages, but I will be leaving a few of the pretty pages alone, like this hibiscus. I don't have a plan for this right now. On this deck scene, what I want to do is add in a few ephemera pieces, like this postcard with a paper clip or a binder clip. I won't adhere them, but I could journal on the back of the card and add in a fussy cut shape, and later I could add a photo to the page. On the next page, I want to add the shaped belly band with the plumeria florals. In the video where I created this journal, I mentioned that I need to print my half pages at 95% to get the full image to print correctly. So you can see that this belly band is a little bigger than my page. I'm going to grab my scissors and trim this down a bit on both sides so that it will fit my page better. There's plenty of leaf space on both ends, so I'm not going to lose any of the florals. If you're making this along with me, you may not need to trim yours down depending on how you print your pages. And if you wanted to situate that band so that it hangs off the edge a bit instead of trimming it, that's fine too. I'm not sure at this point if I'm going to trim any of my pages with lace or rickrack or ribbon. So for now, rather than have the end of the belly band hang over the side, I will just trim this for my journal. I'm just eyeballing this. If you want to get out a ruler and measure the space and mark up where to cut, go right ahead. I'm just trimming a tiny bit. And if I didn't cut enough, and I didn't because I'll do this a couple of times, then I'll trim a little bit more until this belly band fits the page. Yeah, I think that finally looks good. I thought this would be a great place to maybe add in one of the larger note cards because there's plenty of space. There are other cards and tags on the ephemera pages that I could also add to this spot, like this one. This looks good now, so I'm going to go ahead and glue this down. I'm just going to add glue on the outside ends so the cards and whatever else I want can slip under the band. I'm going to place this on my page kind of in line with the chiffon ribbon closure. I'm not measuring. If that's important to you, figure out where the middle is and center this on the page when you glue it down. I think it looks great where it is. I love the idea of having this floral belly band because it adds some interest. It's not just a strip of paper. There's a bit of decoration built in, and I don't have to add anything over the top. And for now, that's all I want to add to that page. For this page with the seagull on it, I'm going to add a flip out pocket card. In the kit, there are two sets of cards like this that are connected with the intent to wrap around a page. I want to add this plumeria card, which is the same flower as the belly band on the other page. I'm just figuring out where I want to add this card, and I think it's going to go right on top of the seagull. But I'm okay with that because this card is going to flip out and I'm still going to be able to see that image. I'm going to grab my bone folder and fold this card in half. Always know too that if you don't want to use this as a flip out card, you can cut this card down the center line and have two cards. I did print grid lines on the back side of this printable. I do include both a lined paper and a grid paper in the kit, so you can print either one or any of the pattern papers on the back of the ephemera cards. I did fussy cut this card so the edges are not exactly even all the way around. I'm going to line them up the best I can and fold this crease. You won't even see any of the uneven edges because this card is going to fold around this page with the flowers on this side and the beach house on the other side. This side will fold out, so I'll still see that cute seagull. When I turn this page, the card is covering up crashing waves, which is a nice background for the beach house. Depending on how you put your pages together, just determine if you want to have this as a flip card here or not. This card is going to be a pocket. It's not going to open. The blue waves add a nice frame all the way around the card. This could be a top loading pocket or a side loading pocket, whichever you want. This is the card I want to slip into the pocket, and I think it's fine either way. Actually, I think I like the idea of doing it as a side loading pocket here because there's extra space to the right. I could have overlapping cards or add in other tags, and it's not going to interfere with turning the page. So when I glue this down, I'm going to glue this as a pocket, adding glue to the top and the bottom only. I'm going to turn the journal so I can see it better. I'm adding glue to the outside edge directly on the journal. This will seal up that fold so the card will have stability when it opens on the other side. Then I'm going to add a thin line of glue to the top edge of the card, and I'm going to fight with the glue a little bit. I probably should wipe off the tip more often and make that cleaner. Then I'll add glue along the bottom edge of the card and fold the card over to glue it down on this side of the page. I'm going to nestle this card right up against the edge as close as I can, and this will give me a side loading pocket. Back over on this page, now I have the flip out card. I'm going to add this pocket to the card, and there's many different options in the kit for things to tuck into this pocket. This little card fits in here. There's an image on the front, and you could journal on the back. This tag would also work. This card is probably too big, and it's the card I want to add into the pocket on the other side of this page, but I could add one of the postcards, and one of these other cards would fit. So many different options. I'm going to go ahead and glue this down as a pocket to this card. When I create these tutorials using one of our printable kits, I'm just using the kit. I really try not to add things from my stash because I want to show that you can make this journal with just the kit. But of course, feel free to add in anything from your stash when you're making this junk journal. There's space up here, so if you wanted to use that space to add in more journaling, you can, and then tuck tags and journaling spots into the pocket. I'm going to let that dry before I add anything. So that's the belly band, the fold out card with the pocket, and then on this side, when we turn the page, we're going to have a pocket that we'll be able to tuck other things into. On the next page, I want to add this pocket. The size and the cutout on the top is perfect to still show the compass. There's a pretty sunset on here, and it works with this compass background. Adding glue to three sides, I'll add this pocket to the page and smooth it down with the bone folder. Again, many of the tags and journaling spots will fit into this pocket, and there are two large round images that will both fit into this size pocket. This one has a sunset that's similar to what you see on the pocket, though they're not exactly the same image. I think one of these larger journaling cards would also be perfect in this pocket. I could add the round card back on top, and now I have some layered elements. I'm going to take these out and let that pocket dry. And now this spread is done. On the next page, we come to the full page journaling spot with lots of space for writing. I'm not going to do anything with that page for now, though once I add in any journaling, I do like to add other embellishments if there's room. On this page, I want to add this pretty corner pocket, and this is going to hold my folio. There is a folio add-on that coordinates with this junk journal kit. I always try to leave a space in the journal to add in the folio, and it's going to go here. This pocket has flaps, so there will be plenty of room to slip the folio into the pocket. The Sea Glass Summer folio is already up on Etsy, and in my next video here on YouTube, I'll have a tutorial to show the kit and make the folio. I've already prepped this pocket by folding over the flaps and inking around the edges. I'll just add some glue to the flaps and add this pocket to my journal. We are back to another double page scene. I want to leave the left page alone for now until I start working in my journal. I like to leave a few of those scenic pages alone until I have a better idea if I need it or not. On this side with the waves and the beach grass, I want to add a side pocket with some of the pattern papers from the kit. I pulled this one. I think the colors look good with this paper. The other one I was thinking about using is the sand dollar paper. This one. And now that I see them together, I think I may do a double pocket. I really like how they look together. Let me find my ruler here and I'll tear these pages to make a full page size pocket with both sheets. So now I'll want to be able to tuck something into the side of the pocket like this. There's going to be two layers. I'm just figuring out how wide I want the first pocket to be. Holding the ruler down, I'm just pulling the paper up against the ruler edge, and that will give me a nice little rough edge on that end. And I'll go trim this strip to the length of my journal off camera. I'll do the same thing with the sand dollar paper. I'm just eyeballing this as usual. I'm not measuring. I'm kind of aiming for about a quarter of an inch between the pockets, so you'll only see a little bit of the paper under the sand dollar paper. And as I was working, I should have inked all of the edges on these pockets before I glued them down, but I didn't think about it. I've glued the pockets together and I'll add this as one piece to my journal right up against the edge of the page. And later on, when I'm working on the pages in the journal, I'll follow up and add inking around the outside edges and over the rough edge of the pocket the best I can. It's always better to try and ink your pages before you glue them down. Moving on to the next spread in the journal. I'm going to focus on the background page. I'm not sure I want to do anything with that floral page yet, so I'll leave that be. I'm going to attach this large slanted pocket here, and there are several other smaller slanted pockets that you can stack on top of this. There are several different designs that slant in opposite directions, so you get to mix and match and use the ones you like. This will give me lots of space for cards and journaling spots, and there will be a place to tuck in photos here if I want to as well. I've also included belly bands that could work over this pocket. Let me see if I can find one. You could use this wood grain strip across the pocket and then maybe add in one of these circles or a fussy cut on top, and then use this space to slip cards under the belly band. I never know what I'm going to do until I start working with a kit, so I appreciate having different options and being able to change things up and not always repeating the same elements over and over. You could even use one of these ticket strips as a belly band. You'd have to trim this down, but this would be fun to add on top of the pocket. I'm using the smaller slant pockets. As I was editing the video, I realized that I could have moved this pocket up the page a bit, that I didn't need to glue it against the bottom edge. I could have added the bottom pocket to the bottom edge, and that would have given the middle pocket a little more room to be seen. I end up completely covering up this middle pocket. I'm only adding glue to the sides. That way, if I add a larger card inside the pocket, it will have more room to slide down. This pocket is meant to have things tucked inside, but once I add the bottom pocket over the top, this middle pocket is covered up. I think that's the fun of crafting on camera, I guess. I was in the zone creating and not thinking so much. So just keep that in mind. You can spread these pockets out on the page a little bit more than I did. On this colorful page, I want to add another slip pocket that I can add some larger cards to. I'm looking for the one that I want to use in this spot. And it looks like I did not prep this one ahead of time, so I'll go do that. Again, I like having background pages like this in my journals that I don't feel guilty about covering up. And when I take out the tags and the journaling cards, there's still a pretty page here with this background. This pocket is also big enough to slip photos into. There's also enough room on this pocket to add a belly band on top. These tickets could work. You just end up needing to cut one of the tickets off, or you could use one of the belly band strips like this wood grain that I showed earlier. And on top, you could add a stained glass cutout or one of the fussy cuts, and that gives you another place to tuck tags and cards. Okay, I think that offers lots of ideas for using the pockets in this journal. I'm going to stop here, and in the next video, I'll create the folio that coordinates with the Sea Glass Summer kit. The Sea Glass Summer Junk Journal and Folio kits are available now in our Etsy shop, and there's a bundle option too. And grab the coupon code in the description box. If you're looking for freebies, we have a few over on our Ko-fi page with more coming soon. Thanks so much for crafting with me today. I'll see you in the next video.